Hey guys, sorry I couldn't be there today. You guys have a sub, and I'm going to be working on lesson 6.3, dividing polynomials. So as I'm doing this, just make sure that you're taking notes in your Algebra 2 notebook, and you'll have some homework problems to do at the end of this as well. We'll go over this tomorrow as well, just to make sure that you're good to go. Feel free to stop the video if you need to, or pause it, rewind it, whatever you need to do. This will stay on Schoology as well, so even though you're watching it during class time, if you need to come back to it when you're working on homework to refresh your memory, you're welcome to that. So we've added and subtracted polynomials. We have multiplied polynomials, and the last thing that we need to learn how to do is divide polynomials. So just a little quick refresher. If you guys have something like this for the rectangle, and this x squared minus 2x minus 15 represents the space on the inside, basically what we're trying to do by dividing polynomials is figure out what this missing side would be. That's kind of the application piece of this. And the nice part is you kind of already know what to do. So the length of the longer side, one way to figure this out would be to think about the fact that you know that a rectangle is this side, one of the sides, times the other side. So what we can do then is kind of represent that with this. We know that one side is x plus 3. We would multiply that by whatever that other side is. I'm going to put the question mark in that space. And we know that what that equals is the space that's on the inside. And the space that's on the inside they gave us was x squared minus 2x minus 15. All right, so to kind of work backwards from this, if you think about how to factor this, that gives us what we're trying to find. So factoring is like going backwards. We know that one of the factors is x plus 3. We just have to figure out what the other one is. So what you need to think about is, since it's a trinomial, we can think about what times what gives us negative 15. Those exact same two numbers have to add together to be negative 2. Well, for us, that would be 3 and negative 5. We already have the 3 in the parentheses, which means that the other set of parentheses will be x minus 5 because we said negative 5. A negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. And if we add negative 5 to 3, we get the negative 2, so I know that this is the right answer. Now, instead of factoring, because a lot of us struggle with factoring, you can also get that same answer by doing long division. And some of you are like, yeah, but I'm good at factoring, right? Okay, but here's the deal with, even if you're good at factoring, the problem is that some of these are going to be unfactorable. And so we have to have this kind of alternate way to go about doing this. So here's an example, kind of an easier example of what we're going to be working on today. You should be writing this down as well. If I start with the example with a rectangle, x squared minus 2x minus 15, and if I divide that by the one side of the rectangle that we do know, which is x plus 3, here's what that would look like. We can go back to long division with actual numbers, and we can back in whatever elementary school when you guys learned how to divide like 100 by 20 using long division, we can do that with polynomials as well. Whatever you have first, whatever's before the division sign, that's going to go inside your little long division house, so it looks like this. X squared minus 2x minus 15. And then whatever you're dividing by, which in this case for us is x plus 3, that's going to go out front of your little division house. So that's what we're starting with. I'm going to show my work in a different color just to help you out a little bit. So my work is going to be big. All right, here we go. The first thing that you do is start with the first item outside here, and you think about what times what would give you this piece right here. Well, x times another x would give me x squared. So since x times x is x squared, I put that x up top. And then I'm actually going to multiply both of these pieces by this x that I just wrote in. X times x is x squared. I'm going to write that part right here. Then I do the 3 times this x up here as well. 3 times x is 3x. So I'm going to write plus, since it's positive, 3x. From there, just like during normal long division, you're going to subtract. So I'm going to minus what I have so far. X squared minus x squared, these are going to cancel out. And if you do this correctly, those first two pieces will always cancel. Then I have negative 2x's minus 3x's. Well, negative 2 minus 3, if you type that in your calculator, is negative 5 x's. Once you have that piece, you can drop the next part down. So this negative 15 from up here is going to slide right down here. And then we do it again. So I'm going to think about x times what will give me this. Well, x times negative 5 would give me negative 5x. So I'm going to write that negative 5 up top. And then it actually times these two things by what I wrote in up top. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. And then I can do the next part. 3 times negative 5, that's negative 15. And then I draw my line and I subtract, just like during normal long division. If you type negative 5 minus negative 5 in your calculator, that's going to cancel. It's going to be 0. Negative 15 minus a negative 15 is also 0. Now, we don't have anything else to drop down, so we're done with the problem. And this 0 is telling us that that's the remainder. It's kind of nice when you get a remainder of 0, just like during regular long division. When you get a nice 0 as a remainder, it means that this went in evenly. So if you take a look up here, your answer is going to be sitting up top. So my answer to the problem is x minus 5. So I'm going to write that down here just so that you can see it. Right, so x minus 5 is the answer, and then I'm going to draw an arrow to where it's sitting, because it's sitting in the top, which is kind of weird. Normally our answer is at the end of our work, but it's at the top this time with long division. Okay, so a little long division refresher for you. That was a nice pretty one because the remainder was 0. It's not always 0, so we're going to look at a couple examples where it's not always a nice pretty remainder at the end. So if you take a look at the next page of your notes, here's where we're going to do a couple more long division problems. So you have to start with what's inside here. The problem with this one, if you look at number 1, is it's not in standard form right now. Remember, standard form is highest exponent down to the lowest. So I want you to make a note above this one right here that says standard form. That way you know where this comes from. So I'm going to write that in standard form. And then I also have some missing pieces. I have a cubed piece. I have a squared piece. I don't have any x's. And then I do have like a plain number. So here's how I'm going to write this in. When I go to put it under my long division box, I'm going to start with my highest exponent first, the 3x cubed. Then I'm going to put the 4x squared. I don't have any x's, so I'm going to write that I have 0 x's. And then I have that 10 as well, so plus 10. Okay. The x minus 2, that's going to go out front here. So I'm going to put that out front, just like I did in the last problem as well. And then I'm going to send it through. All right, so what that means is I'm going to take this x and think about what do I have to multiply this by to get this. So x times what gives me 3x cubed? Well, I definitely have to times by 3. And then I already have 1 x's I need to get to cube. So I'm going to have to times by x squared. X times 3x squared is 3x cubed. Now I'm going to take the negative 2 and times it by that as well. Negative 2 times 3x squared is negative 6x squared. And as soon as you do that, draw your line and subtract. Like I said in the last problem, these first two should cancel. 3x cubed minus another 3x cubed, that cancels out. 4x squared minus negative 6x squared, that's 4 plus 6, so 10x squareds. Then you drop your next piece down. So plus 0x is coming down. And I do the same thing again. I think about x times what will give me this first piece right here. Well, I would have to times by 10 and an x to get 10x squared. So I'm going to write plus 10x up top. Because when I multiply here, x times 10x is 10x squared. And negative 2 times 10x, that would be negative 20x. So minus 20x. Draw your line and subtract. These first two pieces should cancel out, and they do. 10x squared minus 10x squared is nothing. And 0 minus negative 2 is plus 2, or 20, excuse me. 0 minus negative 20 x's, that means 0 plus 20 x's, so 20x. And then you can drop down this 10. And then again, think about x times what would give me 20 x's. All right, well, x times 20 would give me 20 x's. So I'm going to write plus 20 up here, and then I'm actually going to multiply. So x times 20 is 20x's, and negative 2 times 20 would be negative 40. Draw your line and subtract. You should be noticing a nice pattern here. The 20x minus the 20x, that should always cancel out, and it does. 10 minus negative 40, that's 10 plus 40. That would be 50. And I don't have anything else to drop down, so we are done. The 50, though, that's my remainder. So label that as remainder right there. So kind of weird how you write your answer. Remember, your answer sits at the top of your problem. So my answer is actually up here, but I have to take into consideration the remainder as well. So here's how I'm going to write the answer. Okay. I'm going to write the answer as 3x squared plus 10x plus 20 plus my remainder. I'm going to put that over what I divided by. So super weird, but I'm going to do 50 over this x minus 2. So plus 50 over x minus 2. And that's how you write your entire answer. So this is what the answer to the problem is. Okay, we just didn't have to do it in the last problem because our remainder was 0. So we didn't have to have that extra little weird piece on the end there. All right, one more that's not so pretty either. Okay, number 2 here, scooch up. We're going to take that first polynomial. The nice part is this one's already in standard form for us, so we don't have to worry about that. Go ahead and put that first part in the long division box. So 15x squared plus 8x minus 12. What you're dividing by, for us, it's 3x plus 1 goes out front. And then start thinking about what you have to multiply by. You always look at the first piece, so I always put a box around it. I'm thinking about 3x times what will give me this right here, 15x squared. 3 times, I would have to times by 5, and x, I would need one more x. 3x's times 5x's, that does give me 15x squared. And then I have to do 1 times that as well. So 1 times 5x would give me 5x. Draw your line, subtract. These two always better cancel out. These first two cancels out. 8x's minus 5x's, that's 3x. And then I'm going to drop that negative 12 down, so minus 12. Okay? Then I've got to think about 3x times what will give me 3x. Well, that would just be times 1, because 3x times 1 is 3x. So I'm going to write plus 1 up here. Once I do that, 3x times 1 is really 3x. And 1 times 1 is 1. Draw your line, subtract. 3x's minus 3x's, that should cancel, and it does. Negative 12 minus 1, that would be negative 13. You guys can type those in your calculator if you need to. And I don't have anything else to drop down, so this is my remainder. And then up here is where my answer is. So I got to kind of combine these to get my full answer here. So here's how you would write the answer for number 2. I would write 5x plus 1, the part that's sitting up top, plus I put my remainder, which is negative 13, over what I divided by, which is always going to sit out front here. 3x plus 1. So this is my whole answer then. 5x plus 1 plus negative 13 over 3x plus 1. If you need to stop or rewind or go back to that at all, guys, feel free to do so. And then the sub can let you know what the homework is if you want to write that nice and big on the board for them. The rest of the time is yours to work on your homework assignment. And then I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a great rest of your day.